The desert, 104 degrees, no electricity, no refrigerator, no modern technology of any kind, and yet a Persian king is eating ice cream, not imported, not stored from winter, made right here, in the middle of the hottest desert on earth, last night. This is not a myth, this is engineering, and it worked so well that these structures are still standing today, 2,400 years later, still cool inside. Right now, as you watch this video, the Persians called it the Yakhchal, and it's one of the most brilliant inventions in human history that almost nobody knows about. Here's the part that will break your brain. The desert gets cold at night, not cool, genuinely freezing. While days hit 104 degrees, the same desert drops below freezing after dark. Clear sky, no humidity, heat radiates directly into space. The Persians didn't fight this, they used it. They built shallow pools of water next to the Yakhchal, shaded from the sun, open to the night sky. As darkness fell, the water radiated its heat upward into space. A process called radiative cooling. The water didn't just cool down, it froze. In the open desert air, even when air temperature was still above freezing. Every morning before sunrise, workers harvested that ice and carried it into the dome, night after night, until the chamber was full. But here's the real question. How do you keep ice frozen through a desert summer? The walls were built from a mortar called sarouj. Sand, clay, egg whites, goat hair, lime and ash mixed in precise proportions. So thermally resistant that modern engineers still cannot fully replicate it. Heat from outside simply could not get through. The dome shape created a solar chimney. Hot air rose to the top and escaped. Cold air, which is heavier, sank to the bottom and stayed there, locked around the ice like an invisible shield. And then there was the Bajir, a wind tower built alongside the dome. It captured desert breezes and funneled them inside. As that air passed the ice, it cooled further. Hot air pushed out, cold air pulled in. A completely passive air conditioning system. No motors, no electricity, no moving parts. Ever. Result? The inside of the Yakhchal stayed near freezing, while the desert outside baked at over 100 degrees for months. This wasn't a luxury. Ice was sold in markets across the Persian Empire. Ordinary people could afford it. Merchants transported it by donkey to cities hundreds of miles away. The entire empire ran on cold water and frozen food in the middle of the hottest place on earth. And here is what nobody talks about. Modern refrigerators use chemicals that destroy the ozone layer. They consume electricity 24 hours a day. They break down. They need replacement parts. The average refrigerator lasts 15 years. The Yakhchals in Kerman and Yazd have been running for 2,400 years. No maintenance, no electricity bill, no repair costs, just physics. Right now, climate engineers and architects are studying these structures as blueprints for sustainable cooling. As temperatures rise and energy costs explode, the ancient Persian solution is suddenly the most modern idea in the room. The Yakhchal didn't disappear because it failed. It disappeared because electricity was cheaper. For a while. That while is ending, and the ice pit is coming back. If the Persians could keep ice frozen in the hottest desert on Earth for 2,400 years using mud and physics, what else did the ancient world solve? But the Yakhchal isn't the only ancient cooling system the world forgot, because the Persians weren't alone. Across the ancient world, from Egypt to India to China, civilizations independently discovered the same secret. That nature itself is the most powerful cooling machine ever built. You just have to know how to use it. In ancient Egypt, servants hung wet reeds in doorways and windows at night. As desert wind passed through, it evaporated the water and dropped room temperature by up to 10 degrees. Simple, free, effective. The exact same physics behind every modern air conditioner, just without the electricity bill. In India, craftsmen built structures called stepwells. Massive stone staircases descending deep into the earth, where groundwater kept temperatures 20 degrees cooler than the surface. People didn't just collect water there, they lived there during summer, slept there, worked there. Underground cities of cool air, carved entirely by hand from solid rock. In China, imperial engineers buried massive ceramic jars of water beneath palace floors. As water slowly evaporated through porous walls, it pulled heat from the surrounding stone. The floor above stayed cool, the palace stayed comfortable. Zero electricity, zero cost, just evaporation and physics. Every single one of these systems runs on the same principle. The principle the modern world forgot when electricity became cheap. Evaporation, radiative cooling, thermal mass. These are not ancient secrets, they are the laws of thermodynamics, written into the fabric of the universe, available to anyone who understands them. And here is the uncomfortable truth about modern air conditioning. The average American home spends over $1,000 a year just cooling the air inside. That cooling needs electricity. That electricity comes mostly from burning fossil fuels. Those fuels heat the atmosphere, which makes outside hotter, which makes you run the air conditioner more, which burns more fuel, which heats the atmosphere more. Modern air conditioning is making the planet hotter in order to keep your house cool. The ancient world didn't have this problem because they used the planet's own systems to stay comfortable instead of fighting against them. Now here is what modern engineers are actually doing with this knowledge. In 2023, architects in Iran restored a working Yakhchal in the city of Yazd. Using the original Sarouj mortar formula, reconstructed after decades of research, they rebuilt the dome and the shallow freezing pools. First winter test, ice formed within 3 nights. The storage chamber maintained near freezing temperatures through the entire following summer. No electricity connected, no modern refrigeration used. In Dubai, one of the hottest cities on Earth, a team of engineers built a modern Badgear system into a new office complex. Wind catchers on the roof, passive air channels through the walls. The building uses 40% less electricity for cooling than the identical structure next door. In California, a startup is now selling modern, Yakhchal-inspired underground storage chambers built from thermally resistant materials that keep food fresh year-round without any electricity. Current waiting list, 18 months. The ancient technology is coming back, not as a museum exhibit, as a real solution to a real problem that gets more urgent every single year. Because here is the final truth. The Persians, the Egyptians, the Indians, the Chinese, they didn't have more resources than us. They didn't have better materials. They didn't have computers or engineers with PhDs. They had something we lost: patience, observation, and a deep respect for the way the world actually works. They watched the desert get cold at night and built a machine to capture that cold. They watched wind move through a tower and built a palace that cooled itself. They watched water disappear into air and built a room that stayed cold because of it. Every answer was already there, written in physics, available for free forever. We just stopped looking. The Yakhchal didn't disappear because it failed. It disappeared because electricity was cheaper for a while. That while is ending, and the ice pit is coming back. Subscribe to Lost Grid, because next we are going to look at a technology so simple, so powerful, and so completely ignored by the modern world that when you see it, you will wonder why every house on Earth doesn't already have one.